All right, we're about to take a whirlwind tour through the absolute cutting edge of psychology to tackle one of the oldest mysteries there is. I mean, how does this 3 pound universe inside our heads actually learn and reason and navigate the world? For centuries, this was a question for, philosophers. But today is different. Researchers have these powerful new tools, and they're giving us some answers that are, well, they're pretty startling. Okay, let's dive in. To get a handle on this, we're going to look at the mind through 4 really distinct lenses. We'll check out its digital twin in AI, its physical blueprint, the social arena it operates in, and its own weird, time-warped biases. And then we'll pull it all together. Our first stop is the world of AI. Now, scientists have been building computational models of the mind for decades, right? But something fundamental, something huge has changed very, very recently. The big deal here is a concept called being stimulus computable. See, the older models, they worked with clean, simplified data. Think like a simple line drawing of a face. But today's AI models can process the same messy, complex world that you and I do. They can look at a real photograph, read a real sentence, and actually interpret it. This is a total game changer. So, here's the crucial point. By giving an AI a human-like experience of the world, we can create a digital twin of a learning mind. It's a brand new sandbox where we can test our oldest theories about how cognition actually develops, and we can watch it happen right there in the silicon. But this new sandbox has also revealed a pretty profound mystery. Just take a look at this number, 400 billion. That's about how many words the AI model GPT-3 was trained on. It's an almost unimaginable amount of data. And this is where it gets wild. Researchers call this the data gap. A human child learns the complexities of language and logic on less than 10 million words a year. That's orders of magnitude less data. So how do we learn so much so efficiently from so little? It suggests we have some incredible tricks up our sleeve that AI doesn't. Maybe innate brain structures or a deeper connection to the physical world. And that question, it's one of the biggest questions driving psychology today. So how do we close that data gap? Well, our second lens offers a clue. While AI gives us this powerful digital model, it's a disembodied one. And it turns out our physical bodies aren't just along for the ride. They are absolutely fundamental to how we think. This quote from the pioneering cognitive psychologist Barbara Tversky is revolutionary. You see, the traditional view was that we perceive the world, and then we think about it in abstract terms or words. But Tversky argued that the very actions we perform become a core part of our thinking process. This is the core idea of embodied cognition. I mean, think about how you gesture when you're explaining a complex idea. Research shows those gestures aren't just for your listener. They actually help you organize your own thoughts and solve the problem. Your body is helping your brain think. Tversky calls this cycle spraction. It's a blend of space, action, and abstraction, and it makes perfect sense. Our physical actions, like arranging objects on a desk, create the very mental maps we later use for abstract ideas, like organizing the workflow for a project. Our bodies are literally building the scaffolding for our thoughts. Okay, so our minds are modeled in AI and grounded in our bodies. But we don't think in a vacuum, right? Our third lens examines how the presence of others, our rivals, our teammates, our leaders, profoundly shapes our motivation and our decisions. Let's talk about rivalry. It's a double-edged sword. Research on NFL teams shows that when they're playing against a major rival, teams are far more likely to take big risks, like going for a risky 2-point conversion. The rivalry just heightens the stakes and focuses the mind. But that same intensity can also push us toward unethical or self-defeating behavior. So if rivalry is risky, what about just looking out for number one? Well, it turns out that in many fields, pure selfishness just doesn't pay. In fact, it can actively harm your performance. And this illustrates the point perfectly. The fascinating study looked at hedge fund managers, a profession you'd think rewards a cutthroat mentality. The results were stunning. Managers who scored high on traits like narcissism and psychopathy consistently underperformed. And get this, those high in psychopathy saw returns that were a full 15% lower than their peers. There is a real, measurable selfishness penalty. For our final lens, we're going to turn inward. We've seen how AI, our bodies, and other people shape our minds. But what about the built-in glitches? Our brains have these predictable, systematic biases, especially when it comes to thinking about time. One of the most powerful, is present bias. It's that little voice in your head that says, I'll take one cookie right now instead of two cookies in an hour. We are hardwired to place a massive premium on immediate gratification, even when it works against our own long-term interests. And this isn't just about cookies. Present bias is why we struggle to save for retirement, stick to a diet, or avoid procrastinating on important work. The immediate pleasure of spending, or eating that dessert, or watching one more episode often wins out over a much larger but delayed reward. The good news is we can fight back. Research shows that specific strategies can counteract present bias. You can use what are called pre-commitment devices, like automatically transferring money into your savings account on payday. You can enforce waiting periods before big purchases. Or you can use mental simulation, vividly imagining the future benefits of a good choice today. So, we've peered through 4 very different lenses: the digital, the physical, the social, and the internal. Let's pull back now and see the full picture they create. The key takeaway here is that the mind isn't just one of these things, it's the dynamic interplay of all of them. It's an embodied learning system, using the physical world to close that data gap that AI struggles with, all while navigating the motivations of the social world and the quirks of its own internal clock. Which brings us to a final provocative thought. As we build AI that more and more perfectly mirrors human cognition, we have to ask, what exactly are we building? A tool that reflects our incredible capacity for learning and cooperation? Or one that just inherits our selfishness, our rivalries, and our biases? That's the question that will define the next chapter in the story of the human mind.